So, I wanted to make sure I was recording here. Okay, sorry about that. So, I've had quite a few talking atomic watches over the last couple of years. And I've also had two G-Shocks. Actually, I should say I have. I own all of them. And they're all perfectly wonderful watches. They all serve a very specific purpose. The talking solar atomics are very nice in the fact that they are radio controlled down to the second. They are completely accessible, and in the case of this particular one that you see in front of you, the fact that it's solar powered allows the watch to run for a very, very long time. With the G-Shock, the main reason behind that is to be able to go for a swim without having to worry about my watch, and also any sudden rain downpours, sudden shocks, like let's say if I fall for some reason. So they all do have their place, but at the same time, they all display time down to the second, and not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but at the same time, in a way, it feels unnatural. And how do I mean? Well, I recently discovered this. This is a Luch one-handed watch. You heard me correctly. One-handed watch. So how would you tell us time on something like this? Well, let me show you. So what we're going to do is we're going to start over here. Okay, right now it says 20 minutes to 10 approximately. Keyword approximately. That's the whole point of one of these one-handed watches, is that you don't necessarily need to have the time down to the exact second. And for those of you that know me, you may think, oh my gosh, that's sacrilege. But to be honest, the more I think about it, the more I would like to give this a shot. As you know, I've been, or may not know if you're a new subscriber, I've been practicing yoga now for what will be 3 years this September. And it has literally changed my life. I am more relaxed. I am more at ease with myself. And I'm very interested in experiencing time in the same way. I've been reading up on a lot of these one-handed watches. So exactly how does this work? I'll show you. So as I said, it's 20 minutes to 10. How do I know that? 9 o'clock on the hour is where my magnifying glass is, if you can see it. 5 minutes past, 10 minutes past, quarter past 9. 20 minutes, 25 minutes past, half past 9. 35 minutes, 40 minutes past 9, or 20 minutes to 10. Quarter to 10, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 o'clock. So this is a really neat looking watch. It's made in Belarus. It has a 15 joule mechanical movement, and it's really, really interesting for a first step. But at the same time, it's not exactly... Originally, I was looking for this, and I still might, pick it up at some point. It's under $100, so, it's not bad in terms of price. But eventually, What I would really like to get is something else, and I'll explain. Because this is a 12-hour one-handed watch. They also have it available in a 24-hour format. This is a $15,000 Jacques Droz Grand Hour. I'm sorry, it took me a moment to remember the name. So how does this one work? Well, this one is even more intuitive if you think about it. You're probably thinking to yourself, how in the heck is that intuitive? Well, let's take a look. Right now, it is just roughly 10 or 20 minutes past 7. We'll say quarter past 7. Okay? Quarter past 7 in the morning. Now, as we come up the dial, keep coming, 9, 10, 11, 12 o'clock is midday, right? 1 p.m., which is 13, 2 is 14, 3 is 15, 4 is 16, 5 is 17. Now we're getting into the evening hours. 6 is 18. Okay? 19, 20, 21 is 9 o'clock, 22, 23, 24, ready to start a new day. Now, if you take a look at the needle, has it hit you yet? Try dividing the dial into 4 segments. At the 6 o'clock position, which is actually here at what would be considered traditionally the 9 o'clock, or traditional by our standards, this can be thought of as the horizon. The needle is the sun. Now do you get it? It is a wrist-worn sundial. Because you'll probably notice here, you take a look, 6 o'clock, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This sundial is saying roughly about maybe 10, 15 minutes past 11. Midday is high noon. 1, 2, 3, 4 in the afternoon, 5, 6 o'clock. By then, the sun is starting to set in terms of the winter hours. I know that in the summer it stays out later, but just go with me here on this, okay? But you get the idea. It is a sundial for your wrist. Now, you're probably thinking, well, that is totally backwards to everything that I know. Well, believe it or not, when the first pocket watches appeared in the 16th century, this is how they worked. With these 12 and 24-hour one-handed movements. The minute hand did not exist. So I mentioned earlier that this particular Luch is a good starting point, but it's not exactly what I was looking for. I mean, it is, but what I'm more interested in, again, like I said, this is a 12-hour single-handed watch. This one's a 24. And I'm more interested in this one because, like the sundial, it presents your entire day at a glance. It's a very intriguing concept because instead of a traditional watch, so let's go back to this one, the talking solar atomic. Instead of having a second hand tick all the way around, then you have a minute hand that follows that, and then finally the hour hand catches up. This watch is, very minimalist. It doesn't distract you. But this one, and other 24-hour watches like it, the key distinction here is that it's not it's not supposed to, it's supposed to change the way we think about time and with the way we think about our day. Again, we return to the sundial, how people have kept time for a long time, very long time. Same exact principle here. Again, you think of the needle as the sun. So where is the sun at about high noon? Roughly directly overhead, depending on the time of year. Where is the sun at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon? Well, it hasn't said, but it's certainly, it's certainly a lot lower. And then, of course, at 6 o'clock, depending on the time of year, the sun will have set at this time. Sometimes it'll set around 4. But you get the idea. Basically, if we divide the watch face up into halves, daylight at the top, nighttime on the bottom, and it's humbling because it really allows you to see the passage of time in a natural way. Again, the position of the sun on your wrist, the position of nature's light on your wrist. It's interesting to have your entire day at a glance, and this concept has really won me over. This is not the piece that I personally would get, though. I don't have $15,000 to spend on a watch. Excuse me. The one that I would get is this. This is a slow watch, and I'm not talking. Yes, the needle, the hand. Excuse me. The hand moves slowly. Okay, I get that. But slow is the brand name. It's meant to slow down our perception of time. That is honestly the most intriguing thing about these pieces. This is actually the cheapest one that I've found in terms of the 24-hour dial. It's the cheapest one that I've found, running between $250 and $300 depending on the configuration. If I were to go ahead and get this would be my very first watch purchase above $100 that I've ever made. And I must stress that this is definitely not immediate. This is something I'm going to be pondering for a long time. I'm going to be, hopefully they may come up with a 24-hour design that's a little closer to the $100 mark, but if they don't, I do think that 250. Now, 250 is not cheap, obviously, but in terms of watches, it's far from the glass ceiling. 250 is just getting into, the higher end market, and this is, from what I understand, handcrafted, very uniquely made. But it's not. If this had two hands, and was a traditional timepiece, I would ignore it. I'm serious. I would ignore it. But because this takes time, the concept of time as we know it, and turns it completely on its head. That, in my opinion, makes it worth the price. But the overall concept of the 24-hour watch is something that I personally am extremely interested in. And one of these days I would like to get something like this. But I would like to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching. Comments are welcome, and have a nice day.